If we think about self-disclosure, this is probably what most of us thinking about. We're sitting in an office, pouring our hearts out to some psychologist, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that if that's what you need to do. But that isn't really what self-disclosure is all about. So let's figure out what it is and how we can use it to make our relationships better.
Tell me about your mother.
Maybe next time. Social penetration theory tells us that as relationships develop, our communications change from relatively shallow, unimportant communications like, hey, nice weather we're having, isn't it? To intimate and far deeper communications that actually mean something to us on a personal level. This is what leads us to self disclosure.
Tell me again why I'm carrying a sword and a shield.
It's to remind you that self disclosure isn't all sunshine and puppy dogs. You need to be careful when you disclose things about yourself. Self disclosure is a way that we can start to build trust in our relationships. We tell people a little bit about ourselves, and they tell us a little bit about themselves, and suddenly we realize that we could trust each other with that little bit of information, and then maybe we decide to give them a little more information. That's how relationships grow, right? So, self disclosure, it can be cathartic. It can also help us understand ourselves and the people that we have relationships with a little better. It can also help us to increase the positive feelings that we have in our relationships.
Why am I dressed up like some medieval king with a crown and robes?
That's a great question. I'm just waiting until you're comfortable enough with me to tell me about it. As I mentioned before, self disclosure isn't always all sunshine and puppy dogs. It's important to know when you should self disclose important information about yourself, and you should also realize that some people may never be ready to know some information about you. You need to make a decision about how important it is to you to tell that person this information. Now, each situation is different, and this video isn't about how to make that decision. But I will say that before saying something that could end a relationship or hurt someone's feelings, I think it makes sense to consider your options because you can't unsay something once it's been said.
I cannot believe that you would say something like that to me.
Okay, everybody, that's everything I wanted to talk about today, at least for self disclosure. Don't forget, self disclosure is a very important part of developing intimacy and trust in a relationship. Just make sure that it's reciprocal and appropriate. So that means that both people in the relationship are sharing similar types of information and neither one of them is sharing too much too soon, because that can be super uncomfortable. But that's a different discussion altogether. Have a great day.